Before we begin, I want to set a little context. The Insight to Action method is about how change happens internally through awareness, action, and reflection. But for that process to work consistently, it needs support. This video introduces the first supporting layer, regulation, and how it helps the method function in real life. The Insight to Action method has three core steps: illuminate, seeing clearly; engage, taking action; evolve, reflecting and growing. The inner process is simple, but it doesn't exist on its own. If your nervous system is overwhelmed, the structure can work the way it's meant to. You can't see clearly if your system feels unsafe. You can't take action if your body is in freeze. And you can reflect constructively if you're already overloaded. That's why we talk about supporting layers. They don't replace the method, they support it. The first supporting layer is regulation. Regulation is what allows insight, action, and reflection to actually happen. Here's how this shows up. When regulation is low, Illuminate doesn't feel like clarity. It feels like avoidance. You already know what you should look at, but something in you doesn't want to go there. Your mind circles, distracts, or overthinks instead. Not because you're avoiding growth, but because your nervous system is trying to protect you. When regulation is low, engage doesn't feel like movement, it feels like pressure. You try to push yourself into action. You tell yourself you should be able to do this, and your body responds by freezing, procrastinating, or shutting down. And when regulation is low, evolve doesn't feel like learning. It feels like self-judgment. Instead of asking, "What did this teach me?" you end up asking, "What's wrong with me?" So regulation isn't extra, it's foundational support. Now, regulation doesn't mean being calm all the time. It's not about long routines, perfect habits, or forcing yourself to relax. Regulation simply means this: giving your nervous system enough safety to stay present. That's it. And there are very practical ways to support that. For example, pausing before making decisions when anxiety is high, slowing your breathing for a short moment, taking a walk without stimulation, reducing noise, urgency, or pressure, choosing rest instead of forcing productivity. These aren't self improvement techniques, they're support mechanisms. They create the conditions where the insight to action process can work. When regulation is present, Illuminate becomes clearer. You can notice what's happening without panicking. You can tell the truth without spiraling. Engage becomes lighter, and action stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a small, manageable experiment. And evolve becomes constructive. You can reflect on what happened without turning it into self criticism. This is why regulation supports all three steps of the method. It doesn't give you answers, it gives you access. And one last thing that matters: you don't need to regulate perfectly, you don't need to do this all day. You only need enough regulation to take the next honest step. Sometimes that's 1 minute, sometimes it's one breath, sometimes it's choosing not to push, and that's enough. So if the insight to action process feels hard right now, don't ask what step you're missing. Ask what support is missing. Very often the answer is regulation. In the next video, we'll talk about the second supporting layer, expression, and why growth needs somewhere to go after action. Be present, be patient, be positive. This is the Insight for Presence. Have a good day.